We are on to the next market review for the week of the 24th through the 28th of November. So it's going to be a little shorter due to Thanksgiving and the holidays on this week of price action. But we're just slowly getting week through week, day by day, as I back test it daily. Try to work through a whole week of price action, record these little trade recaps, and then go into it. Obviously, this is completely hindsight. Don't know what I would have actually done in the market, but I would like to think that I would have done these things that I'm saying, and I'm just trying to develop and train my eye to spotting these recurring patterns so then I can apply them in the live market and make fucking money. That's all I'm trying to do here. Make a little bit of dough, teach a little people, cool stuff like that. So we'll get straight into this market review. So based on the prior week that you saw in the last video, we had a C2 closure on Friday. The C2 closure on YM provided the smallest opposing run, barely tapping that low on Friday, or Thursday rather, with Friday expansion candle closing over this body. You can frame EQ of this day fractally. Just frame EQ of this day, trade it higher. You kind of see a bit of a strength switch as this day closes stronger on Friday. These are closing weaker with larger opposing runs. They have a more expansive run prior to the 10 a.m. candle, which we'll get into. So this is just a very clean and simple way to form daily bias. Sweep of the low, expansion candle. There's just nothing other than longs to frame off this. So pretty simple from that standpoint. My daily bias will always kind of be pretty simple like that. So this is where it gets a more intricate, I would say. So, and just pretty free off this. Let's see. Let's get that here. So we have a failure to manipulate. We have this SMT into a gap, and it's from the 1400 candle. And what would you want to do, as I said in the last videos, to validate an SMT, especially one into a gap, this being weaker in range, obviously higher, and then the middle being middle, you'd want to see expansion following this. So this could be like the example of a New York PM, but it's also just trading into a Monday, so it's just lower probability in that fact. But let's just frame it on any given day. If we were to see this SMT into gap for an SMT fill, what would we want to see out of 1800? Expansion, continuation. And that's not what we get. We actually get a move higher here, a little PSP with this asset. Bit of a strength switch as this leading asset into the higher is closing bearish. This one's closing bullish. It's just literally Sunday Asia session. Like, I'm not putting much weight on this at all, so you don't have to read too deep into these days. Sunday overnight Asia session. But we just get a bit of consolidation, run lower, form this SMT here. As you can see, SMT into this gap for an SMT fill. Bada bing, bada boop. And the cool thing that this does to make this YM move so free is that 6 a.m. on NQ and ES, NQ and ES both hit this SMT high and fail to manipulate. That's what FTM means, FTM there. They failed to manipulate. Now, this one closes over for continuation, so just treat this like a fractal model. Like the same as you would want to see like a see-through continuation, closing over the highs. It's a simple way to get bias. It's a simple way you'd want to see an SMT high get closed over. It took a bit for me to click on that. I was just like, how do we know whether this could be reversed? Like, I don't know why it just took me so long, because I'd be like, oh. But now that it's like clicked, it's like that was the dumbest thing that I was getting tripped up on. But closure over this SMT level, obviously if we were to see something that would invalidate it, it would be 10 a.m. opening high and then forming just expanding lower. Then it's just like, okay, well, this is cooked. I'm just going to sit on my hands because this is not something I'm going to short away from, and it's also not something it's just not something I'm short away from, so I'd have to wait for the new 4-hour candle. Save you a lot of losses there. So we have a nice 6 a.m. candle closure, 10 a.m. continuation, and it's a clean close proximity high to target on YM, as it wasn't taken, and both of these two assets have. So when two of the assets have taken it and it's close in proximity, these are the trades that you're gonna literally just smack, just enter 10 cons, enter 10 15 minutes. I'm just kidding, don't do that. But these are so easy to target with these SMT breaks. One, close in proximity, and two, both assets have taken it. He's going to want to play catch up. So you can get into the YM here. Let's just go ahead and expand it. You don't need to see the other charts. So just based off this week here, I feel like we can see a nice market maker buy model here, but I haven't traded through the rest of the week So we'll see what occurs. So let's just focus on today before I get distracted. So again, SMT into gap here. If we're going to trade away from a level, same thing with like framing the daily candle. Yeah, frame the EQ of that previous day candle, find relevant levels within that candle from 4-hour, 1-hour gaps, swing lows, swing highs, whatever which way you're trading. So this would be the level you'd want to see respected and demand respected. If we trade through this, especially closing through this gap, then especially these consolidation lows like are pretty free. But that doesn't happen. We get a wick into the SMT, or SMT formed by the wick into the gap. There we go. I can speak English now. And just a super clean C2. You can take this 10 a.m. closure and just long it. I mean, just pretty simple there. Not much more to get into. I'm going to try to work through more 15-minute models to learn maybe 1-minute entries, because currently I don't take that. I take 5 or 3, mostly 5s. Don't mind those. Those are going to be shown on the 5-minute here. But this is super clean. This is, oh shit. Okay. This is super clean if you're a scalper. I would consider scalper like a 1-minute entry. Some people do 30-second. You're a demon. I don't know how you do that. But 1 minute here, this is super clean. SMT gets put in, C2 closure, fractal. Just sweep of this low as well. Just clean 9:45 to allow 10 a.m. to open. Small opposing run and just expand like on a 15-minute. Like this is where I might frame those like swing trades that I'm going to be able to like not really trade while I'm on EST working. This would be something I might look at to like literally just stop loss here, entry on the 9:45 candle closure here, and just long into this high. That's pretty clean. But I don't know why I'm getting into that, but this is super clean 1-minute expansion. You could watch 10 a.m. open. I'm gonna break this down real quick. Like 10 a.m. opens here, you immediately have an open high, so you'd want to kind of watch that wick get formed, because say you enter here, yeah, you're getting caught. Like you don't want to market entry. Like the only protected low is like down here or down here. So you're gonna have to find a protected low to place your stop loss, because you don't want to get stopped out. Some people use gaps. Like if you used the bottom of this gap, you would have got saved. But just wait for the a low to get put in to validate a stop loss placement. Boom, you get that here, and then that's where's the, oh, it's all the way over here. Let's kind of move this here. Jeez, this is super clean on the 1 minute. Wow, I might have to start really back testing 1 minute, because boom, here, stop loss goes there. That's almost a 3.5 hour trade. Super clean, get a bit of an expansion, consolidation. This is not, consolidation doesn't mean a reversal. We don't see anything. There's nothing to reverse from, so simply just let it happen. Especially this is just like a 10-minute time frame. Like this is not even that long. And then boom, it goes. But entry based on what I trade would have been somewhere here. You could take this little propulsion, but this first entry doesn't even give you 2R to this draw. And plus this is just kind of, what time is this? Nope. So 10 a.m. opens. Again, I don't have anything to form my low on. I can get a positional entry, and maybe if I wanted, like, I really know this is going to run, then I would put my low here, my stop loss rather, and then just find, like, eventually get a positional entry. That's how you would do positional entry. So you would enter here. I would still wait for the wick, but if you just want to really get in before you think prices are just going to straight up expand, just positional entry, place your stop loss here, and then as this wick is formed, then you just move it up, and then boom, and then you just trade. So super clean. And then this little continuation it offers, especially just Monday, given Monday price action, it's going to be a bit slower. So you just have a nice little expansion, consolidation here, get a continuation block, order block, boom, closes over. You can place your stop loss there, and then it's clean. So that's the first trade recap. Really clean Monday, honestly. Super clean Monday. And that's what I think I've touched on in my last video. When you get these daily closures, like some people sit out Mondays, and that's like perfectly logical if you back test and you just see that, wow, I lose a lot of money on Mondays. But when you get closures like this off of a Friday, like it's pretty free. Like if you just get some sort of consolidation candle or a large expansion range on Friday, then yeah, like Monday's pretty likely to just kind of chop. But with a clean C2 closure, it's pretty free. It's not that hard. Just profiling it all is it. Profiling is all it is. So cool. I'll see you on the next trade breakdown. We are now on to the next day, Tuesday, and I'm pretty excited just going over this and annotating some things, and I'm pretty excited to show this one because this is a very clean example of strength switching and choosing the right asset. So based on the daily closure, we have again that C2 closure that allowed for Monday to expand on NQES. YM was a bit more consolidated, as you see. And then this where you can see as this day is closed, you can already see the strength switch at play. Once we get to the 4 hour, you see it actually set up and formulate. But as you would see this closure on Monday, just due to the nature of the closure, the next draw is going to be this swing high here, this swing high here for a close draw. So let's break it down to the 4 hour so you can see the actual strength switch. And newsflash, this is a bit of a fucking mess, but it is necessary. So let's zoom in on here. As the 6 a.m. open, or the 2 a.m. here, that's why I a lot of times like to just wait for the 10 a.m. as long as the draw, if the draw is not super close like this is a bit more farther out at this 6 a.m. closure. I mean, it could very well just open expand here. 6 a.m. tried to get its run. This is why YM is just like so free. This failure swing off this high. 10 a.m. is most likely going to just come in and can take this out. Like it's very rare that you're just going to see this such close proximity failure swing, especially with the strength that you see on display here. But what you have is this two-stage SMT with PSP here. It ended up failing to get another C2 run. So as you can see, very small opposing run in the swing switch occur. So two-stage PSP, which is ran to form a 6 a.m. PSP here, small opposing run out of YM with the bullish PSP. This also is a good example here for the middle asset. It closes as a bullish PSP as well. Still kind of messed up trying to speak with these wisdom teeth in, or just out. My mouth is bleeding. Anywho, that doesn't matter. So middle asset here closes as a bullish PSP as well, and body closes within the 2 a.m. wick to form a clean C2 reversal. You see how this one is closing below the 2 a.m. wick. So obviously, as you can see on display, this makes sense. Now you can see some of that lagging turn leading stuff come into play here potentially, but that's not what's on display here. This is just a classic. This is switch strength based on that daily closure, as this was more of a consolidation candle yesterday, and now it's becoming the strength leader into the highs as NQ is kind of failing too. So there's certain scenarios where you could play this leading or lagging asset turn leading into the draw, but you just gotta wait how 10 a.m. opens, and you can see it on the hourly that it just doesn't occur. And obviously here you can see it, but you got to break it down a bit more on the intermediate and then lower time frames to really truly validate with unison sys Z's. Maybe this one sys D's first. It has more strength, larger gaps on the lower time frames. You can see the signatures, but it's just not what you see. So as you get in here, let me touch back on this. You have 1800 as well. This is a good example of just this trades deeper into discount on NQ. This is the least amount traded into discount here, and then this is a good example of strength at play with the bullish PSP, and it allows it to also trade into the ERL while this lags to fulfill that. So super clean here, just a beautiful accumulation, manipulation, distribution example here as the day open, and just brutal chop. Like, what candle closure is going to close? What is this from the open here? Where's open? Not even open. Jesus Christ, where's open at? I can't even find it. I'm dumb. Boom. Like, where's my little point? Come here, man. Dude, 124 point day. Like, you obviously know that's not going to occur. So with just such a small range run like this, like, I'm saying like a million times, it's just so free that whatever side manipulates and forms a signature, we're gonna get just a solid New York AM expansion. That's what allows for this kind of slinky concept I've focused on in the last video. For a brief second, I expanded on it. Treat price as a slinky. Like, this whole time, it was just loaded up. It was just waiting to then roll down that stairs. Like, think of the visual of a slinky rolling down a stair set. As it reaches one stair set, it kind of just consolidates. Yeah, that's what like price consolidation is. It's like waiting on that one step, and then as it tips over to the next step, it has this expansion range that can. So like after this is the hopefully this makes sense in your head. You got to visualize it. But I'm visualizing right now like a slinky falling down a step onto the next step. that is that expansion range. As it hits that next step, an external range, an internal range, it consolidates as it comes back together. As it hits that range, you'll see another form of manipulation. That's a tip over on the step, and then it falls into the next step. That's the then again expansion range. You're not just going to go from this to then it skip a step. Like, it's always going to hit that next step, is what I'm trying to say. Meaning it's always going to hit a next form of consolidation. It's very rare to ever. We never go from expansion to expansion. And if we do, you just don't trade it because there's no manipulation to get on side with. So hopefully that slinky concept kind of makes sense, because that's what helped click in for me when it comes to visualizing price, getting on right side, watching the consolidation form, not tripping, just let it happen, let the manipulation occur, really getting a good understanding of accumulation, manipulation, distribution. So I don't know, it's a good little tidbit. Maybe helping visualize a slinky can help you visualize price better. So what you have here is just a nice two-stage boom. Obviously this is way weaker in the range. Now what I'm coming into when I was explaining watching a lagging turn leading, what you wanted to see out of 10 a.m. was a very small opposing run out of this 10 a.m. candle to form the wick of the 1 hour 10 a.m. candle, and then just boom. Obviously this is the one that kind of takes off. This one has a deeper retracement as well, but eventually can come in and break that SMT as well. So super clean out of the 1 hour, just like a nice candle to trade 10 a.m. here. It's a bit, you're like, well, it's kind of rescinding down, but it's still in respect, still closing over this wick high, and it's just a brutal failure swing. Like, you're just so close to that proximity draw, that draw in proximity, that like a 5 minute is super clean here. So again, you're gonna see this day to day. Like, each time I go, it's gonna be like beating a dead horse, beating a, whatever the fuck that saying is. Anyways, let's just get over that fact. So extremely insane V-shaped recovery. So this is why I just don't trade 930. Like, especially to this, like, what are you gonna frame your stop loss on? Like, down here I think is the SMT low. Then it forms a new run, a small opposing run. But nonetheless, let's just expand this. This is kind of dumb to show you this. This looks really crazy. I'm sorry. That was a really crazy example to show you and just be like so zoomed out. Anyways, so what you get here is this small opposing run. Small opposing run. I'm losing my train of thought here. Large opposing run from the open. Boom. You're like, oh, this is so free. And sometimes people will catch like 1 minute. Like, I could spot some people's entries here. Watch this. Oh, not even. I don't even know what you enter on. But sometimes you'll have like this 930 open, straight expansion, like a 1 minute boom, and then bang, like for a small SSD, and people will like anchor their stop loss and then get caught in this. It's just like, bro, trust. Like, trade 10 a.m. Like, if you're a new trader like me, trade 10 a.m. Just let manipulation of the open occur. And then if there's still a trade, get on side with it. More likely than not, like, you're going to be fine. Like, you're going to be truthfully fine. You might miss a couple, and that's when you get more into back testing. Like, if the draw is super close in proximity and there's a clean, like, opposing run and something, you can form your stop loss and place it on. And then just most of the time, wait for 10 a.m. until you get, like, really good at trading the 930 and the super volatile moves. Just 10 a.m. will show you the true direction a lot of the times. And if the draw is still open, watch the continuation entry and then trade it. So super simple on that. So 9 a.m., 10 a.m., boom. We already know this. I'm back to the hourly. I don't know. I'm losing my train of thought. And you get this opposing run. Okay, is this just going to continue lower? Nope. As it comes back in, fails to. I'm pretty sure there is an SMT here you would like to see, as this is a kind of a bit of a weird entry to get involved in, being so close to the draw and not the cleanest. So let's see here. I think I remember from viewing this that there is no SMT. Yeah, there's no SMT off of this low here. There is a slight one off of this low. So YM actually forms the small SMT. It's pretty local. Pretty local SMT. Yeah, but you do get one opposing candle immediately disrespected, 3 opposing candle signatures. So as 10 a.m. opens, you get this low. I think there's a bit of that low into the gap, and then closed over, opposing run. And this, truthfully, you can enter here. This is fine, yeah, but this is probably the best entry, the one I would have hoped to take. This is actually like just like super clean. It's just you're gonna have to do a static 2R here, and that's gonna put you a bit above. So one way to circumvent, like maybe getting stopped out, this is just not the cleanest entry. That's where you're gonna have to like really maybe take like 5 minutes or 3 minute entries. I mean, it works out obviously. Damn it, I just got distracted. Someone came into the room. I'm sorry. Anyways. Okay, I had a brief pause. Anyways, let's get back to this trade. So as you come into this order block, closure, closed over, ERL is pretty close. So there's a lot of times that I might fade a 5 minute and just look at the 3 minute SSD. Even now, this is actually really clean at 10:03. I would have got pretty scared right there. So truthfully, it's just such a large run. I'm trying to really explain this and say that I would have took this, but if I was going to enter here, true invalidation is, and then, ooh, this is actually pretty clean actually. I think that's what I would have done. Is obviously I've explained how like if the candle closure over the SSD is pretty far above, I'm just going to wait to limit in around that SSD line, which would be right here. This obviously closes in. Would have been a bit scary, but this is why you always place your stop loss on the true invalidation, which is this low into the gap. And then for that, you would get about 3R. Now, would I have completely traded this way? This was a bit of a more nuanced day, as this is a large opposing run, but you're getting these disrespects of the opposing candles, pretty clean. Even then, like, this is a pretty clean 3 minute model. Like as 10:30 opens, little opposing run into gap, you could trade even this. When you got stopped out, damn, pretty close stop out, almost there too as well. But this is a more difficult day to navigate, but I think I would have traded it that way. So that is that Tuesday recap, and then we'll get into the Wednesday recap if there is one next. All right, we're on to the next day, where NQ has failed to meet this external level while ES and YM have hit it. So this is just a bit of that logic repeating here. So we have a potential to trade NQ into this SMT break level due to the proximity of this draw and ES and YM already running through it and continuing through it, which we'll see as I break down the intermediate time frames. But super clean draw. It's just the only thing due to this being a half day. This is the day before Thanksgiving, so the markets closed technically at 1 p.m. So gonna have to get in on this quick and fast. But let's drop down into the 4 hour. I already have all this stuff marked out. So what we see here as we open, let's get into the 4 hour. This shit's been glitching for me as it just kind of taken. But as you see, we have a PSP developing here as we touch into this gap. So NQ is gaining a bit of strength as it puts in a gap. YM and ES are both failing to manipulate this high. We're not putting any two-stage reversals, especially on YM here. We've just straight up continued past it. The 1800 has opened, kind of chopped, going lower. I mean, it technically opens high, but as long as you manipulate something low and then put in a reversal sequence, then you can qualify that as an open low. It doesn't literally have to open low every time and be like, that is a bullish candle makeup. It literally opened low. No, it can open high a little bit as long as it's not overexpanded. Sometimes you'll see, like with continuations, 1800 can open, put in a gap. You'll get a reversal signature within that gap, SMT fill. And then if there's a draw available above, you'll see stuff like that where it opens high and still prints like a continuation sequence. But right here you have an open high, and then we manipulate into the fair value gap put in by the 1800. So a bit of that, but sometimes you'll see price kind of expand, and there'll be a rebalance, and then just back into that like Asia, London high. Anyways, I'm getting into profiling right quick, but as we have this, we'll continue to close this candle out. So you have the PSP put in a bit of a strength switch as the leading asset is closing bearish while this is closing bullish. So you could trade this. You could really trade any of these assets. Just knowing me, did I take this day? I'd have to look through my trade recaps, but I don't think I took this day due to the structure of the 5 minute. That was when I was heavily relying on 5 minutes. Now I'm kind of getting better, trying to spot 1 minute entries, 3 minute entries. I don't take 1 minutes, but 3 minutes specifically. but I don't think I took this day. So you can frame these continuation signatures to hit this external range here. So it's just a simple draw. Like for this, like you're kind of zooming out into tracking fair value gaps that you may like hit and balance into. But for this, like I love swing highs. Like old swing highs and lows are super clean draws, especially when the two assets that are correlated to it have already hit it. So for me specifically, I would trade NQ on this day. So we'll go ahead and open this. We'll go ahead and open this here. So as the day opens, again, you have the low put in. We don't manipulate this 1800, but we do kind of manipulate the daily open range with this SMT. Again, the one that was previously stronger has now turned weak, putting in a bearish PSP. So there's a bit of that strength switch. And then we have 10 a.m. a clean C2 reversal candle closing over. Logically, mechanically, being that this day, well, let's get into mechanically. Mechanically, you can frame an open low and trade 2R past this, and it does give you it. But with the day closing early and this external draw, and like, let's just go to the daily here. Like you've already expanded 3 days into, well, 1, 2, you wouldn't really count these days of expansion, but it's a bit of that slinky concept at play again. Like I'm expecting price to hit this draw and immediately just either retrace off of it or reject off of it. I'm not expecting the price to form continuation signatures and then expand in the same day, especially when we close at 1. So days like this, I'd more so just be waiting for this to be the only draw. Like as soon as this hit, I'm going, if I'm not getting 2R off of this external range, then I'm going to go break even as soon as we do hit it, so I can just protect myself a little bit. So pretty clean. As you have this continuation, you can drop down to the 5-minute. The 15-minute, I think I had something of note there. Oh, we had an SMT on this 15-minute. So ES ended up running this low while NQ doesn't. So it's not exactly the small opposing run, but it still is a nice little continuation sequence to where you can trade the 1-minute higher here. So what is that, 1045? Well, it'll be 11. So fast forward, let's see if we get any opposing run. Okay, boom, into gap. Boom. So you could just sit here. I don't have the buy sell buttons on, but we'll just buy there. Boom, buy limit. What that would be, what is that? 325, so we need 660. Boom. And you get it. So you can do continuations like that. Those are pretty simple. Let's go ahead and just clear that order out. But those are pretty simple into the draws if you want it. That's why I'm trying to train my eye better to get 15-minute and then filter down, because as long as every time frame is aligned, like the daily is an expansion, the 4 hours an expansion, the 1 hour is an expansion, we're looking at the other ones, those are an expansion. You can get 1-minute entries. You just got to be a little peculiar about your stop loss placements. Best is like EQs of these range. Like you wouldn't want to place it like too far up on the 15-minute range, because if we're thinking fractally, we would want open low in respect to EQ of this candle to continue higher. So somewhere around this EQ, the frame your stop loss, find a good swing point like we just demonstrated on that trade. This is pretty fair, and then you just trade for 2R. You can trade past it if you got some balls, but that's a pretty clean recap of what you could have traded this day. I wouldn't trade much past this, because let's just go super mode. Damn. Oh, I'm just like literally moving sideways. Yeah, you get that finger going to work. Okay, yeah, you get a fucking nice continuation. But the market's about to close, and yeah, so super clean day. Framing NQ to break this draw that the other two assets already hit. Other two correlated assets, we know the correlation. They're going to play catch up. They're going to try to join forces again because they're correlated. So super clean day to trade. I'm going to stop talking now because my mouth hurts. But yeah, see y'all in the next recap. And that will be the end of the video, or the end of this price data review from 24 to 28. Obviously you had Thanksgiving and then Black Friday. Like this price action is just chopped, and early closures, full closure on Thanksgiving. This day closes early, so there's not much to review and not much to even take other than to just enjoy this holiday weekend and not trade. So pretty clean day. You could trade Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. That would have been 3 trades that you could have taken if you would have spotted them and obviously framed them correctly. but pretty clean um, Thanksgiving holiday. Pretty clean holiday all together. Caught some good trades over like December and such. So it's pretty cool to go over this price action again, being that it was like probably the cleanest holiday season I've seen in a while. Not that I've traded every holiday season, but just through back testing and such. So pretty clean trades out of this week. I will break down the price action for next week tomorrow when I study and then put out another video. So cool.